Good morning, students. In this class, I am going to start next lesson Kabuliwala by Rabindra Tagore. First, we will have a brief introduction, a brief study of the great writer Rabindra Tagore. Rabindra Tagore, he is very famous. He is the first Asian to be awarded with the Nobel Prize for his great contribution to English, to the literature. And he was also the writer of our national anthem Janaganamana. He was a Bengali poet, basically a writer, a composer, a philosopher, an educationist. That is, he was a multifaceted personality. Though basically he was a Bengali writer, that is, he started to write mainly in Bengali, or he has written most of his works mainly in Bengal. Later, he himself, Rabindra Tagore himself, translated most of his own works into English. Thus, his great work Geetanjali, it was basically originally written in Bengali, Bengali, and it mainly means a collection of devotional poems in the Indian tradition. In Bengali, Geetanjali, it was published in 1910. Later, the poet himself or the writer himself translated it into English. This English Geetanjali, mainly in English Geetanjali, it is referred as song offerings. It has created such a sensation among the English readers that very next year, Geetanjali, it was translated into English in 1912. But that Geetanjali book itself has created such a sensation among the among the English readers that very next year, that is during 1913, Rabindra Tagore was honored with the Nobel Prize for his a very great book, that is Geetanjali. Okay, as I already told, he was a multifaceted personality, and in that he was also referred, he was a great educationist. So when we come to Rabindra Tagore as an educationist, he started Shantiniketan, that's a school near Kolkata, and it has a system of Gurukul. His main intention of that school in Shantiniketan school, it was mainly to provide the education to the students, not in the classroom. Students' life should not be restricted within the classroom. They should be given education mainly under the tree, that is in open air. They should be given the education, and education for them, they should enjoy the education. So with that beautiful concept, Rabindra Tagore has started Shantiniketan, and later it had become very famous as Vishwabharati. Okay, next we will move to Kabuliwala. So it was, as already told, it was a Bengali story written in 1892, and here the story of in Kabuliwala, mainly the writer explains the story of a merchant from Kabul, Afghanistan. And this Kabuliwala or merchant or street vendor from Kabul, who every year comes to Kolkata from his Kabul mainly to sell the dry fruits. And here the Kabuliwala, name of Kabuliwala was Rahman. Theme, when we come to the theme of the story, here father's great love, deep love for his children, for his child has been mainly beautifully explained or portrayed. And here fathers, when we come to father's love, first one is mainly narrator's deep love for his daughter Minnie, and the second one is Rahman, that is Kabuliwala. Rahman's deep love for his daughter Parvati, or you may even pronounce it as Parvati or Parvati, mainly because in Bengal side, West Bengal, instead of V, they do write B. For example, Rabindranath Tagore, In our side, we do write Ravindra, R-A-V-I, but they do write, instead of V, they do write B. Rabindranath. In the same way, this Parvati, P-A-R-B-A-T-I, to be pronounced, you may pronounce it as Parvati, 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 whatever. So here also the writer also portrays the deep friendship between Rahman and Mini. Actually, Rahman, he is the age of Mini's father, and Mini, she is only a 5 years small girl. So moral, when we come to the moral of the story or moral theme, the beautiful concept of the story, it is we shouldn't judge the people just by their appearance or just by their status. And one more very beautiful theme, moral of the story, moral theme, it is we should help the needy. Needy in the sense the poor one, the people who needs our help, especially that is in the name of our birthday, marriage, or in some other celebration function, we do spend a lot. So that extra expenditure, expenditure should be controlled, should be restricted. Thus saved money should be distributed among the poor or among the needy. That is, we should help the needy. So when we come to the important characters of the story, first one is a narrator. Here narrator, so no, that is the narrator is different from the writer. Writer of this Kabuliwala is Rabindra Tagore, whereas the narrator is different. Narrator is the one who is narrating the incident, narrating the plot, narrating the story to the readers. He is mainly called the narrator. Okay, here narrator is Mini's father, and this narrator, he is also a novelist, and he is the person, he is the one who is narrating the incident to the readers. And the second one is Mini. Mini, she is 5 years old, playful child of the narrator, and she is a girl who cannot, or she is a child who cannot live without chattering. So only she is very fondly referred or called, named as a chatterbox. That is, she is a bundle of questions. She is very active, very playful child. And third one, Rahman, Kabuliwala from Afghanistan, from Kabul. He is a street vendor and who mainly sells dry fruits in the streets of Kolkata. And next one, Mini's mother. Mini's mother, she is a timid lady. She doubts each and everyone, and she is scared of each and everything. And especially she doubts the close relationship, close friendship between Kabuliwala and Mini, and she doubts Kabuliwala as a kidnapper. And next one is Ram Dayal. Actually, only his name of Ram Dayal has been referred. He doesn't come to the screen. So here Ram Dayal, he is the doorkeeper of the narrator. And one more important character, though she doesn't come in the story, but only her name has been referred, that is Parvati. Parvati or Parvati. So she is the daughter of Rahman, and she lives, that Parvati, she lives in Kabul itself, and she is of Mini's age, that is, she is also maybe 5 or 6 years old. So these are the important characters of this lesson or story Kabuliwala. Okay, next we will move to the story, the lesson itself. So here that is actually the first para. It is not in that text. Still I'm going to read the first para, and here the this in the narrator mainly starts the incident, mainly explaining or revealing the nature of that girl, his daughter, the nature, the features, the qualities of his little daughter, playful child Mini, who is mainly referred as chatterbox, and she is with a bunch of questions. She is with a bundle of questions. She has so many questions. So and to prove she goes on chattering, or how active she is, the narrator, he gives a few examples. Okay, my 5 years old daughter Minnie cannot live without chattering. That is, I really believe that in all her life she has not wasted minute in silence. That means she always goes on chattering about this or that. And she's a girl with so many doubts, so many questions. So to get the answers to her questions, or to fulfill her doubts, to clarify her doubts, she goes on asking so many questions and doubts. Her mother is often vexed at this and would stop her prattle, but I would not. To see Minnie quiet is very unnatural, and I cannot bear it long, and so my own talk with her is always lively. One morning, actually the story of this lesson Kabuliwala starts from here only, that is from one morning. So as I already told, the writer mainly starts to narrate or explain the nature, the qualities, the features of his little girl Minnie, who is a chatterbox, who is with a bundle of questions. So to prove that one, to justify that one, he mainly explains the first para. So one morning, for instance, when I was in the midst of 17th chapter of my new novel. So here the writer, the narrator, as already told, he was also a novelist, and he was very busy mainly writing his novel, 17th chapter of his new novel. So at that time when he was very busy, and actually he doesn't want to be disturbed, so he doesn't want his novel to be interrupted. But Minnie, who doesn't want to be quiet, who doesn't want to be silent, so she entered his room without taking his permission. That is, without asking his permission, she entered into his room, and putting her hand into mine said, so she had a doubt. To clarify the doubt, she came to her father. Father Ram Dayal, the doorkeeper, calls a crow a crow. He doesn't know anything, does he? Actually, there is a difference in the pronunciation of some people. CROW, crow, to be pronounced as crow. But that Ram Dayal, uneducated, illiterate, so he doesn't know the difference. So he used to pronounce crow as crow. So the narrator, so that Minnie, she wanted to know, or just she wanted to know the reason why he should pronounce crow as crow. Actually, even in many villages, almost illiterate, they do pronounce school as school as school. Of course, nowadays school has become e-school, e-learning, but their pronunciation, if you pronounce a school as a school, but they do pronounce it as school. So in the same way, here Ram Dayal, illiterate, so he mainly pronounced crow as crow, and just she wanted to know the reason why should he pronounce crow as a crow. And the narrator, he has been thinking to explain her the mainly the difference of language. But that girl, that Minnie, she came out with one more doubt, one more question. That is her next question, next doubt. Mainly, she told, what do you think, father? Bola says there is an elephant in the clouds blowing water out of his trunk, and that is why it rains. So, once again, Bola, one of the servants of that house, he was also illiterate. And when this girl, she has asked about the reason for the raining, especially from the cloud from the upper side of the earth, so that Bola, who was unaware of any scientific reason, illiterate, so he mainly told that yes, in the cloud there is a very big elephant, and that elephant, so that is it blows water out of its trunk, so only every year we do get the rain. And just that one also she wanted to know whether the answer right or wrong. She was not happy with the answer, so just she wanted to clarify the answer, she wanted to get the correct answer. And once again the writer, he had been thinking, no, that was completely wrong. And writer, the narrator, he had been thinking to give the he wanted to explain the scientific reason for the raining. So that girl, she came out with one more question. So the question, it was, what relation is mother to you? So the narrator realized this girl who has so many doubts, so many questions, but she doesn't want any answer. So he felt this girl, Minnie, definitely she is going to disturb him in his writing the novel. So just to avoid her, and the narrator, he mainly told, okay, he told, go and play with Bola, Minnie, I am very busy, just to avoid that girl. And just to continue his writing, he wanted to send that girl out of his room. He so very politely, he mainly told he is very busy. Since he is very busy, that Minnie, she may play with Bola. So even though he told, the narrator, he told and became busy mainly writing his novel, but that girl, she didn't go out. So she had seated herself at the feet of the narrator under his table, and she was playing very softly, mainly because the narrator has told she shouldn't disturb him. So very silently, very softly, she was playing and drumming on her knees. So and the narrator, he was busy in writing the 17th chapter of his new novel, where two characters, hero Protrap Singh, and the one heroine, actually Heroine should be pronounced as heroine, not heroine. So that is the lady character, she was Kanchanalata, and they both were Kanchan. Protrap, he has been thinking to go out, to escape out of the house with Kanchanalata. So at that time, when he has been thinking to write all those things, all of a sudden, Minnie, who was still in the room of the narrator himself, so all of a sudden she ran to the window, started to and crying, oh Kabuli wala, mainly because in the street, before their house, in front of their house, one Kabuli wala, he was passing slowly. And what was the costume of that Kabuli wala? Kabuli wala, that is street vendor, peddler. He wore the loose soiled clothing of his people. Of his people means usually the people from Kabul, they always used to wear a very loose fitted dress with a soil color. So as usual, this Kabuliwala, he was also in that particular dress costume of Kabuliwala, and with a tall turban. And he has been and in his he has been carrying a very big bag, mainly with full of boxes of dry fruits, grapes and other things. And in his hand also he had a few boxes of the grapes and other dry fruits. So this girl, that is she began to call him loudly, and the writer, he thought, now it is not possible. If the girl, she has already called him, definitely Kabuli wala, by getting the sound, definitely he will come to the house of the narrator. So the narrator thought, no, he had completely left the hope of continuing his novel, since definitely he was sure he is going to be disturbed by that Kabuliwala, mainly because if Kabuliwala comes, definitely the narrator has to purchase something, purchase some dry fruits from the that Kabuliwala. So when the Kabuliwala, by getting the sound, when he turned and started to move towards the house of that narrator, all of a sudden the girl Minnie, out of terror, she was so scared, she mainly went inside the house and she wanted to get the protection of her mother. That is, she was so afraid, she was so scared of Kabuliwala, his dress, and his, especially his big bag, mainly because she had a blind belief, maybe told by that Bola himself. That is, in his big bag, Bola might have told, in that big bag, always Kabuliwala used to carry 2 or 3 children of Minnie's age. So that is, she was so afraid to think, definitely Kabuliwala, he will kidnap her and put that Minnie in that inside the bag, where already 2 or 3 children were there in that bag. So because of that fear, because of that blind belief, all of a sudden the girl mainly went inside and she wanted to get the protection of her mother. But the peddler, he came, greeted the writer, and later the writer, he made a few purchase. He purchased few dry fruits, and also there was a conversation about that is Abdurrahman, Russians, the English, and many other things. But that girl, though she himself called the girl, in the sense Minnie, though herself, she called the Kabuliwala, but she had disappeared from the sight. Okay, next portion to be continued in the next class. Okay, thank you. Take care.